So for week two's assignment, we were asked to pick a topic of something, excuse me, of something interesting that has happened to us, and I really couldn't think of anything. I don't feel like I had many interesting points like that, like something where it's like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. So one thing that I do remember was being little, and maybe I want to say like around 8 years old or so, and my parents, both of my parents and my sister and I went to the Mexican consul in Los Angeles. So what happened there was, I remember it had been like the crack of dawn that we had gotten up because there was going to be such a long line. So we were waiting outside the building at like 5 something, maybe 6 in the morning, for them to open up. Once we got in, there was a limited amount of people that they let into the building itself. So backtrack, when we got in, there's like a metal detector and they search you and all kinds of stuff, that they have to do. And we went through that fine. So they allowed a certain amount of people inside the building, but the rest of us had to wait outside in a waiting area where they had seats and stuff like that. And I do remember me having to go to the restroom really bad. So my mom told my sister to take me. So we went into the building, and I did my business. We came on our way back out. It's when everything just started, and basically they were keeping anybody that was like all the way indoors, and anybody that was by the door and by the restrooms and stuff, they were trying to take them out of the building. And we were kind of like, what's going on? So we went back to my parents, who were sitting out in the front still, and at that point they were already evacuating the waiting area at the front of the building, or like in the section they had us. They were already evacuating them back outside the fence. So when we got out there, they're like, oh, they said that there's a gunman inside, and they have like somebody hostage or something like that. So if I do recall, I remember the police arriving shortly after, and at that point we were only on the outside, kind of like where we were waiting to where we were making line initially in the beginning in the morning. That's kind of where they had us. But at one point the cops, they said you guys need to get even further back. So we did, and we didn't leave. I'm not too sure why we didn't leave at that point. But I don't know if they didn't let us leave at all, or we were waiting to go back into the building after all this was done. Maybe they didn't think that it was like going to be such a big deal, or something. But I do remember that they pushed us back into the parking lot across the street, into the building across the street. So as we were waiting back there, I just remember it going on for quite some time, to be honest. And eventually there was a gunman who came out, I don't know, one of the exits, and he had a woman kind of holding her like by her neck and stuff. So I was so scared. I was little, and I don't know, I just thought it was like something bad was gonna happen. So I actually started to cry, and my parents were like, it's okay, nothing's gonna happen to you. They're over there, the police are taking care of it. And I just remember watching everything unfold in front of me. The fence was kind of like, it had holes and stuff, so we were able to see through everything through it and see what was going on. So he slowly started to back away from the cops. I can't say I saw the gun or ever witnessed him with it, but he did slowly start to back away, and the cops were kind of like pushing towards him, like walking towards him, and he was walking backwards and still had the woman by her neck. At one point, one of the cops just shot him, and it wasn't until later on that we read that the gunman didn't really have a reason. There was not, they didn't really know why he did that or what his intentions were from doing all that. But we did read that he did pass away after that. So this was back in, I want to say, let me see, I believe it was back in like 2009, 10, something like that. So yeah, that's something interesting that happened to me, and I think that's why I'm just kind of like always aware of my surroundings and kind of like a little bit paranoid. But if it helps, everything ended up being okay with the woman, and she actually didn't get hurt at all. I just remember her screaming and running to the cops to get to safety. But that's my story about something interesting that happened.